Hey guys, Saiyan here, bringing you a Dragon Ball Z Dokkan battle video. And so we know that the global Dokkan campaign is coming next month, and a lot of people, I won't say everyone, because I know there are some people out there that didn't like Daima, didn't appreciate Daima, but I think most people could probably agree that it's the most hype thing that could be coming to Dokkan because it is something new, right? Something, the latest official entry into the Dragon Ball franchise, and of course for the fans of GT, right, the official canonization or return, however you want to look at it, of Super Saiyan 4. So a lot of people, myself included, are hoping that the global Dokkan campaign is going to be Daima related, and that we finally are going to see Daima Super Saiyan 4 Goku. Now, obviously, that could be in adult or kid form. I think with this being an anniversary level, I shouldn't say kid, right? It should be mini. But given that this is an anniversary level celebration, I feel like Dokkan will probably just do what Legends did and like jump straight to adult Super Saiyan 4, because I feel like that is the more hype version, right? So this is something that I'm sure a lot of us are looking forward to, and it's going to raise some very interesting ideas for the future of one team in particular, the Giant 8 Power team. Now, one thing, I actually haven't seen a lot of people mention this, but especially today, I think it was Prof brought up the fact that, like, what if this Goku isn't actually on Giant 8 Power? Because obviously there is no actual involvement of the Ozaru, right? Like, even though characters like Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, like, they fused as Super Saiyan 4s, so he doesn't have an Ozaru form, but like, the characters that became Super Saiyan 4s, at least in GT, did so through transforming into a Golden Ozaru first. Obviously in Heroes, they just kind of skip straight to 4 because they just want to show the cool, like, what if transformation, like someone becoming a Super Saiyan 4 and not constantly having the Ozaru bit in the middle. But I think considering the fact that, you know, we have the body fur, we have the tail, whilst I know it's not like an official thing, obviously the actual like Dokkan wiki, because it's not like the official translation or anything, but the Dokkan wiki says consists of characters with the power of giant apes, and it includes all the Super Saiyan 4s. So I feel like regardless of how they want to explain like the Daima Super Saiyan 4, we know that categories are wonky in Dokkan a lot of the time anyway, but I feel like he's got to be on Giant 8 Power, right? It'd be very weird. I mean, he could, I guess you could argue he could be on Demonic Power, because he gets the power, like the upgrade thing from, is it Neva or Neva? But yeah, I feel like he's got to be on Giant 8 Power, right? And that creates a lot of interesting potential for the future of this category, because not only are we going to have the Daima Super Saiyan 4 Goku, whether it's adult or mini, then at some point we would get the other version as well, right? Like, even if we get the adult one first, we're not going to go however many years more of Dokkan or whatever and never get the mini Daima Super Saiyan 4 Goku. So that's two brand new premium units right there. And of course, from the anniversary, you know, we got the Super Saiyan 3 Goku that transforms into Super Saiyan 4, leads Giant 8 Power for 220%, so we're always going to have that leader to give the full team the full 220 lead, regardless of what like the Daima Goku leader skill ends up being. And this guy, of course, super good support unit, gives all of the Power Beyond Super Saiyan allies a buff, and then of course consistently don't have to worry about turns. Usually he has guard and dodging until you get to the point where you can transform. And then of course he supports Power Beyond Super Saiyan and Giant 8 Power defense and damage reduction, which is incredibly good, right? Like, if the Daima Super Saiyan 4 Goku comes out, and even without thinking about the other units on his team, he's one of the best units in the game, then once you have him on rotation with this guy, he's just going to be even better, right? Because even more defense and damage reduction. So the team is definitely going to be looking very interesting. Now, at the moment, we've obviously got characters like the EZA for the 7-year LR Super Saiyan 4s, who are very, very good. These guys will age very well, considering turn 1, they have that ridiculous damage reduction, 77%, and then obviously they have guard for 7 turns. And then by that point, in a non-long event, I guess you could keep going until their guard runs out, and then by the final phase, get out Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, who of course then has 77% damage reduction again, can counter super attacks and things like that. Now, the rest of the Giant 8 Power team can be a little bit hit or miss, because, you know, we're using characters like the Giant 8 Vegeta, who is a pretty good slot 1 like tank for the team, who I think I just closed the tab rather than going to it. There we go. This guy can be a very good unit for the team. Obviously he's got his EZA now, so it's not like he's going to last forever in terms of longevity, but he can be a good option for the team. And then outside of that, when you think about like what the giant 8 power team looks like, people I've seen even like getting away with running Limit Breaker for Geo, because on the full 220 lead, with the fact that he has the early damage reduction. The GT Super Saiyan 4 Goku has obviously not aged super well, right? I mean, for global he was practically dead on release. So the team definitely needs some fresh blood, and there are some very interesting things that we will be getting fairly soon. Now, one of the oldest Dokkan Fest exclusives that doesn't have an EZA is Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, the Int one. This guy will obviously be great on the team because the Year 7s don't start off as Gogeta, so it's not like there's any issues with linking. And this guy is basically just all stats. And he has a chance to counter. His active skill then just gives him even more stats. So this guy has a really good opportunity for an EZA, because he doesn't really do anything super fancy outside of having the super counter, and then obviously he's effective against all types for 8 turns, and then just has a high chance to be effective against all types. I can imagine them just giving him permanent effective against all types, because it's not a crazy ability. But they could easily throw some other things onto him as well. Damage reduction of some kind, especially if it's like before attacking, because then he could be a really good slot 1 unit with that damage reduction before attacking. He's going to be tanking normals and then obviously potentially just countering supers anyway. So this guy obviously has a lot of potential and is one of the oldest Dokkan Fest, as I say, who does not have an EZA. Now, a lot of people, you know, I've seen people say, oh, well, we need to get a GT celebration for this guy to get an EZA. But that's the thing. If we get Daima Super Saiyan 4 Goku as a headliner for a celebration, like this guy doesn't have to EZA with a GT character. He could easily EZA with another Super Saiyan 4 character. So even though it's Daima Super Saiyan 4, it fits perfectly for this guy to get an EZA during that celebration. So definitely looking forward to this guy. And then obviously the big thing is that this year we are expecting 4 Super Saiyan 4 EZAs when it comes to heroes. Now, we don't know when those EZAs are going to be, because, you know, the heroes EZAs are normally in November with the hero celebration, and we know we're not getting a hero celebration anymore. However, they did confirm, with last year's being the final one, that they were still going to EZA the units that need EZAs. And so the ones that are in line for this year, now who knows, they could just EZA all the ones that don't have them. But I feel like they'll probably just still go for the year-to-year, like the ones as they were regularly scheduled, who knows. But even if that's the bare minimum, that they just do the ones that would have been scheduled to EZA this year if Heroes was ongoing, it's going to include these 4 Super Saiyan 4 characters. Now, the first one is Limit Breaker Super Saiyan 4 Goku. Now, this guy on release was definitely a bit underwhelming, especially because when you looked at him and Vegeta's kit, like when you first read it, you're like, okay, so Goku's supposed to go in slot 1. Because he's got damage reduction, as long as you have the right allies on rotation, and then he needs to get hit 7 times in order to get his permanent buff, which is then extra stats and guaranteed crits, right? But he just didn't have enough, like, high enough defense, even at the time they released. He didn't have good enough defense to go in slot 1. So at the time when he released, like, post-super, he could still be relatively fine, like, defense-wise. It's just that he kind of, when he came out, him and Vegeta, especially when you look at them side by side, he looks like the slot 1 unit, whereas Vegeta's doing like the extra attacks, getting off a bunch of supers, performs 5 supers, and then he gets his like permanent buffs as well, although his weren't particularly great. Guaranteed to hit and disables guard. There are a few events now where the enemies dodge, I guess, so it's not the end of the world. And they both give support, like Vegeta if there's a Goku, Goku if there's a Vegeta. So you looked at them like together and it's like, okay, these units look like they're designed to be run together on rotation. Goku in slot 1 and this guy in slot 2. But they didn't really work like that. So hopefully the EZA for Goku makes it so that he is actually good enough in slot 1. Ideally, we want them to lose this restriction. Like, it had to be all superclass full power or all superclass Dragon Ball heroes. It couldn't even be a mix of the two. So you couldn't have a full power ally and a Dragon Ball Heroes ally. Like, then this wouldn't activate. So this needs to be changed. Ideally to, like, I guess add in... because Vegeta has Giant 8 power. Add in Giant 8 power... Vegeta could obviously have full power added in, or just change the word. I think what the best thing for these guys would be if it's just an ally on the same turn, or I mean, ideally it would be on the team, and then you just don't have to worry about rotations or anything. But I don't know if they'll go full reversal course correct in that way. So it literally, if just an ally attacking in the same turn is either superclass, I mean, get rid of the superclass, hopefully they do, but I imagine that might stay as well. But literally the perfect thing for them is just when another ally attacking in the same turn is giant 8 power, Dragon Ball Heroes, or full power. And then these guys will fit nicely on these other teams because they only need to be run with one other ally from those categories anyway, and then they can get their full buffs. And then obviously for the rest of their kit, you know, just do what you do with an easy A, bump up all of these numbers. Goku having damage reduction before attacking would be good so that he can actually be the slot 1 that we would like him to be. And then Vegeta, maybe some built-in crit. He has a guaranteed additional, so like maybe some built-in crits instead of like this stuff down here, I don't know. But Vegeta was okay on release. Like these guys just kind of them getting easy A stats will obviously be very good as well. But then we also have the easy A for Super Saiyan 4 Gohan. And this guy actually has a lot of potential, right? 200% attack and defense and 50% damage reduction. He needs 2 or more giant 8 power allies on the team. So that's perfectly fine for a giant 8 power team anyway. Obviously they could change this to just 1 ally, which either way, I think just it still being the 2 allies is perfectly fine. He gets extra attack when there's a crossover ally in the same turn. Now this is the big thing we need to wonder is like, because they're not doing heroes like celebrations anymore, and we're getting these easy A's but we're not getting new characters, it obviously seems kind of counterproductive to keep the easy A's having these things where they have to have crossover or heroes allies on the team. Because then it's a case of you either have to run them just all together, the new easy A's, because the older units will be too outdated and we're not getting new units. So maybe even if they just changed it to when there is another crossover ally on the team to make things a little bit easier. I mean, at the end of the day, it's just extra attack. And Gohan's main like basis of his build is that he's a tank. So it's not the end of the world if you don't get that. And then he raises attack and defense on super. So like he could be very, very good, right? Make his super greatly raise, give him a little bit of extra damage reduction, or you could even throw in like, because he has the 50% when there are 2 or more giant 8 power allies on the team, right? You could keep that the same, but then give him like 30% damage reduction before attacking, just as is. So then if you have both, which you ideally would when you run him, he's got 80% damage reduction before attacking and then still has 50% afterwards when he has his post super buffs. Or you could even, as they've been giving a lot of these units now, give this guy, he's a perfect example for a character that could get that like 200% defense when receiving a hit. That would be really, really good for him as well. But yeah, damage reduction before attacking would be really good, so this guy could be a go-to slot 1. Bardock was always a bit of a iffy one. He gets extra attack and defense when there's 2 or more crossover allies, so change that to giant 8 power. I mean, they could make both of these guys like crossover or giant 8 power just for a little bit more like flexibility. And then he gets extra stats depending on how much HP you have at the start of the turn, which is a bit awkward. Like this guy is just I don't know if there's much saving for this guy. Medium chance to dodge when there's a giant 8 power ally in the same turn. I mean, that needs to be at least high. And then potentially give him like extra as well, like high chance to dodge when there's a giant 8 power ally in the same turn, and then give him like 30% chance to dodge anyway. So then he has 80% on the giant 8 power team, and then you don't need to worry too much about whether he is getting all of these buffs based on your HP. And again, make his super attack greatly raise. I mean, this guy, out of the 4 heroes easy A's, I feel like this guy is easily the most fumbleable just because of his pre-easy A kit. Gohan has a lot of potential. I think Vegeta has a lot of potential because the team will include a lot of other units whose name includes Goku. So if his easy A is solid, you can throw him on the team just to be an attack support unit, really. And then this guy, it kind of all depends what they do with his defense capabilities. If they don't make it so that he is a really solid slot 1 with his easy A, it doesn't mean he's a complete lost cause, as long as he's solid enough post easy A to go in slot 2 or 3 and not just get instantly destroyed by supers, then he could still be quite useful. But ideally we want more slot 1s for the team, because then we can run the full Super Saiyan 4 build and not have to worry about having like Grade 8 Vegeta on the team, right? Because at least he has Saiyan Raw, so he links with the other characters. And then I did also bring up the Wrathful Broly. Obviously this guy himself completely outdated, but hopefully one day in the future, at some point, we will get a new Wrathful Broly. I would love to see either like dual Dokkan Fest Wrathful Broly and God Vegeta, or a Part 2 LR Wrathful Broly for a certain celebration or something. But a new Wrathful Broly would be pretty cool for Giant 8 Power. Obviously, he doesn't have Saiyan Raw as a link, so he's not an ideal candidate for a team with like all of these kind of characters that we're talking about, but obviously it would be kind of fun to get a new one. And if he's good enough, like if he's the only one on the team that doesn't have Saiyan Raw, it's probably not the end of the world. But that would be super fun. So let me know what you guys think down below of the future of Giant 8 Power. Are you looking forward to seeing Daima Super Saiyan 4 Goku in Dokkan? Are you looking forward to these Heroes EZAs? Let me know all of your thoughts down below in the comment section. So that is going to be it for the video, guys. This has been the Master Ningen. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Check out the links down below, and I will see you all again soon. Have a good one.